Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. You guys can hear me okay? Let me just check. Hi there, guys. I think I may have sorted it out, but resume the recording. Okay, let's start once more. Welcome everyone. Today is the 3rd of August 2020, and it's a Monday's webinar. So we are running webinars from Mondays to Fridays, Mondays and Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Cyprus time, and on Wednesday right up to Friday it's 3 p.m. Cyprus time. Okay, so let's begin. We've got a couple of trading opportunities, but as per the market's trend, we are looking at quite a number of changes in the market. But as of today, we are looking at trend-wise. We're looking at most of the major currencies. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 major currencies. They are really weak against the dollar at this moment of time. Also weak against the CAD, except for the USD, of course. But the rest, they are weak against the CAD. So that actually means that the USD and CAD are really picking up in its trend on the bullish side of it. In terms of US dollar, it is quite clear against the JPY in terms of bullishness, as well as the NZD. So you're looking at USD really very bullish against NZD, AUD, CAD as well. But it's just that it's probably better to pick the antipodian currencies like AUD, NZD against the USD, as well as JPY, which is a safe haven. So USD, JPY, probably best to look into various time frames, okay, on that one there. But as of now, what I'm looking at is we have got the Asian sessions strength are on the CAD. So CAD strength has actually picked up. It's probably with the oil situation at this moment of time as well, because it's affected by oil a lot. And it's positively correlated, of course, with the market prices and things like that on CAD. So CAD in both Asian session and the main session really strong to the upside at this moment of time as we speak, actually. And also we are looking into NZD, USD, and NZD USD as well. So we've got NZD CAD and USD on both Asian and main sessions, a very strong, very bullish this moment of time. It has actually lasted its strength from very earlier on the mornings of Asian time until now actually, and also earlier on when the London opened as well as Frankfurt opened for the European market. We see that that has actually been maintained, especially for the USD. So USD has been, very bullish as well in terms of its trading volume, liquidity, and everything else. We've also got NZD strength picking up a lot. To the upside as well, and we've also got, I mean, the whole session today when it started, um, very early for myself here, which is about 8-9 o'clock in the morning in Japan itself, has actually started with a lot of JPY strength to the upside, and then it maintained itself, but not as strong as USD. So USD maintained its strength quite a lot. Hence the reason JPY has actually sort of depreciated. So now it's giving a lot of opportunity for buying between, USD against JPY, a lot of buying opportunities right there. But saying all that, okay, we have got a lot of strength, of course, with the USD to the upside, but we want to always check on various time frame. Let's say we have actually picked the USD CHF. So I'll present to you guys 3 trading opportunities today. We have got earlier on, I've already looked into the market as early as about 6 o'clock in the morning my time, and I see that we've got the USD CHF picking up at the time, but not because none of the markets are open at the time, but then it's actually just having all these interest from Asia, I would imagine, for the safe havens, but both are safe havens as well, USD and CHF. But at this moment of time, we're looking into the USD strength quite a bit. So USD CHF, as you guys can see, we are on the 4-hour chart. I've looked into the daily chart for the trend, and trend is not really a right for the upside, but the reason why we are able to detect the earlier movement of the trend, as you can see, it's how it has actually just came down here and then reverse, and that basically movement is an early detection from some of the softwares that I use as well, in order for me to understand where could I expect some surprise in terms of turnaround, whether it's a corrective move, or a spike, as they say, or it's just being driven fundamentally, or some sudden news. Usually the softwares are able to detect that sort of movement, and hence the reason it's not enough to actually just use the software and things like that. That is why we want to keep ourselves really safe, where we combine fundamental and technical. So the technical side of it, of course, I go onto the market and I evaluate areas like what I've done here, in order for traders to understand where can they trade. So location is really important. Of course, if we were to be very conservative, like myself, whereby I only would trade if I've got the candles under all the 3 lines, but never to trade in between the lines, you see. So but at a certain occasion, when we've got the backup of softwares, we've got backup of algorithms that has been proven, to be quite high in probability, not 100%. There's just no 100% accuracy, but you've got the ability to understand how high the probability is and the risk. Hence the reason I use a lot of price action as well as pattern. I mean, patterns, geometric patterns are only a reflection of price patterns. So I'm using that as well. Now we're actually looking at USD CHF with prices have already triggered the 0.9190 area, and that was a suggested buy at 0.9190. First box right here giving us a potential 48 pips TP on the 9240, mainly because it showed potential at the 9260 area, but because I've spotted the risk of prices reversing earlier, we just want to be safe. So it's probably better 10 pips below the 9250 psychological level. So that was was the suggestion for the first buy for USD CHF. So the first box or the first TP would give you, if it hits the TP, give you the potential of about 48 pips. The second round, basically slightly, not slightly, but reasonably big in terms of the sizing pips for profits potential, and that one there is after the first box has actually been hit, then you've got a little bit of rest time before it triggers the price at 92.60. So 92.60 is the area to buy, and then the TP area is at the 0.9340, which is again 10 pips below the 93.50 psychological level. So that's for the USD CHF. When we look into like daily chart or anywhere, I mean the trend is still looking like it's seeking some how you call that, it's seeking the corrective level, a place where they can correct, you know, in order for them to sell at a higher price. So if I were to use Fibonacci as well, as you can see, if I pull this one here, right down here, you can see that even the second box right here, it has got the potential to reverse at a 78.6 area, but I, you know, built that box slightly lower than the 78.6 and then also lower than the 93.50 area, so that we get to be more safe, because it's just so volatile in the market as well. So there you go. This is your potential USD CHF. The first box, I mean, to take profit, if you're entering now, basically you're taking profit. It's still the same 92.40. Then you're looking at about 20 pips, slightly less than 20 pips more to go before it hits the TP. Your second round, basically, you can do your pending order 92.60, TP 93.40, maintaining your stop loss at 1 to 1 risk reward ratio. Okay, so there you go. That is your USD CHF. I evaluated it based on daily chart, but then you can always pull it down to your time frame that you prefer, whether for your intraday trading, for your midterm. That's entirely up to yourself, as well as your risk appetite. You need to be the master for that, to decide on your risk appetite, as well as you know, the plan. The thing that I present would actually be early detection of trend, early detection of reversals, also trading opportunities, trade ideas based on trends, the trend that's picking up. So I'm a trend trader, giving you the opportunity to scout and to look for trading opportunities based on trends. So I'm not looking at the anti-trending type moves and things like that, which would increase your risk and not your probability. Okay, so there you go. So that's your first one, USD CHF. Now we're looking into AUD JPY. Also, AUD JPY is quite interesting. It's been giving lots of hints since the London Open as well, of the pickup of how you call that, participation in the market by sellers, mainly for AUD JPY. So the trade idea on USD CHF was for the buy. It's right along the bulls market, and AUD for both AUD JPY and AUD USD, we're looking into more potential sell. Okay, so AUD USD, interesting. It's got both the Asian session as well as the main session. They have maintained their liquidity pool. That means a participation. Sometimes, you know, you've got this much percentage coming into Asia, and then a little bit a drastic increase in the European session or the London session and all that. That gives me a pickup in terms of volume, and I can expect that, you know, you've got more and more strength. But for AUD JPY, it has maintained the steadiness of the increase between one session the other, and session was not really very drastic like the USD CHF. But then it's also a good sign that traders know what they're doing. They're not impulsively buying or selling when they don't actually have a big jump in participation between one session and the other session. Okay, so AUD JPY, very interesting. We've got 30 pips right here, but then the selling price is at 74.90. You can actually set a pending order 74.90, and then you'll take profit at the 74.60 area. But main reason I have plotted that under the 7500 area, not only because of the psychological level, but because of all these concentrated price action. We've got a sideway, a very long sideway right here as well. So we want to look at all that support area. So under that support area, I think it's only ideal to enter at 74.90, and then you want to exit at 74.60. That's your first sell trade for AUD JPY. Second round trade for AUD JPY is only entering it at 74.40 and exiting at 74.10. This one's a bit of a small sort of gap at 30 pips potential, as you can see, but then 30 and 30, if both hits there, that will be, quite a good trade to take. But also, if only one hits and the other one doesn't, or if you're on both and then one gets hit and the other one didn't, or float you a little bit of amount, even if you close it, you will then end up just risking 30 pips. So it's always a good idea to actually trade in stages, like how I'm actually suggesting at this moment of time, but in advance. We are looking at not getting overly excited with the sell from now on, only because we have got potential reversals right here. So your safe zone sort of would actually be at the 74.90, which is 10 pips under the 75.00 area. Then you want to look at exiting 10 pips above the 74.50 area, which gives you a good nice price to take profit at 74.60. And then your second round would actually be at 74.40, which is again 10 pips under the 50 psychological number, and then to take profit at 74.10. That's your next 30 pips right there. So that's your AUD JPY. Now I've done both USD CHF AUD JPY in advance, but we've got a third trade idea, which is for AUD USD. Now for AUD USD, I've done some sort of analysis, but then I have erased it all because I would like to do an analysis right in front of the audience, and to actually show how I actually come up with the lines that I'm going to be able to plot it right in front of all of you. Okay, so here, let me just. Okay, so here we have got this really long move with a great movement to the downside. Now, again, I've mentioned about early warning. So this is a bit of an early warning fall that we have sort of used. The software and share amongst us traders who are using these softwares, and we've detected the fall basically before the reversal area right there, that has actually gone to that level. So it's proving really good. Now let's just look into how we are looking at the areas or location for us to sell the AUD USD. Now, first and foremost, with regards to trend, it looks like it's correcting, but the price have actually maintained above all the three EMA lines. Okay, so in the long run, possibly still loads of opportunity on the buy side, but then not too far in the future, because it does actually look like it has decided on the weekly chart, as you can see right here, to reverse, and has actually reversed with a pin bar as well. And then you've got that reversal coming downwards. Now, if I were to follow the price, we have got some single bearish candles as well. Okay, now just following that most bearish candle right there to the base, that's already about 130 pips. So we have got opportunities for sure for selling the AUD USD as well. But we want to take it in stages. As you can see, the 4-hour, dropped significantly. But if we are on the 4-hour right here, right now, we need to look to the left and then get an idea that we may be threatened our position by the buyers. Buyers may come in since they have actually gone in and traded at exactly this exact level, but also, if at all it were to reverse, it's got a bit of a short term, as I can actually see, but not in terms of pips. You've got pips. Uh, they're reasonable at about 33 pips or so. So that is if it were to go to the upside. But what I would like to do with the AUD 4-hour chart is to use the daily chart as well to plot various areas that may actually look much better to enter. Now, at this moment of time, we are having price for AUD USD trading exactly on the 70-80 psychological number. So it's not an ideal area to sell or to do anything at this moment of time, but in order to sell, we can actually plot the 70-70 area. Okay, so we'll plot the 70-70 area right here. Okay, that would be a level that is safer for us to sell right there, 70-70. The next one would be 70-40, okay, because it's under the psychological level. We're not using that, but let me just, okay, so it's 70, yeah, if you were selling the 70-70 and then take profit. We are looking into possibility of prices falling. But before that, 6-9. Let me just see whether it would be a better idea to ignore that for now. Looking into the entry area at 70-70 and looking at the location where the selling is taking place is on a most recent bearish candle right there. And if at all it is from the price where price is at right now down to that closing bearish candle right there. Give me a second. From the price now right down there, that's a good 66 pips or so. Now that end there of the closing price seem to mirror some support area that's really obvious, even if we, you know, mark the body of the candle right there. And okay, so that closing wick price of that candle, you know, it mirrors the area here of opening price for an upward type move as well. So now we're looking at potential because the softwares have also alerted the potential selling pressure. So this selling pressure may not actually even exist as of now, but then it probably come into play only in the Australia or Sydney market open. So this is why I like the early warning style of doing things, but we want to also mainly monitor the trend for ourselves as well. And this is for AUD USD. Okay, so here with the AUD USD is not giving us that hint when we look at it technically. Probably is just, you know, too early, and we've detected the selling pressure a little bit too early, which is always a very good thing for traders. And here we can actually look into that bearish candle right there. If it were to start selling, I mean, even for myself, I wouldn't mind selling, you know, later. Here, for example, like 69. Probably 69.90 would be a potential area. Okay, let me just change the color right here to give you the color of golden opportunity. All right, so we've got a bit of a goldish color right here. I'll mark the opening price right there of that bearish candle, and then as it ends, that was at 68.53 or 54. Let's just make that a little safer. And your TP would probably be at 68.60. Okay, very good. So there you go. We've got that one there, and that's for the TP. Good. So we have got 69.96. Basically, that's the length of the candle, but you want to sell at 69.90. Okay. 69.90. Yeah, for the sell, and then 68.60. So let's just explore potential of pips, 126 pips or so. Okay, that's very good. Now let's just evaluate that for lower time frame. Look see the potential more and more move from the downside. But what about prices now for AUD USD? Could we actually sell right now? Now, at this moment of time, very, very risky at 70, 80, which is bang on the psychological level. So it would probably be good to look to the left a little bit. You know that you've got a support right there. So maybe you want to sell under the support at 70.40 instead. So I'll just change that because 70.60 goes down to 70.50. So 70. Let me just adjust that. 70.60. Yeah, that's not too bad. I'll maintain the price of sale there. 70. No, 70.62, 70.40 probably would be better price for the sell. 70.40. Okay. Just look at that orange level and see whether you've got anything that we can actually detect at the moment as selling pressure. If you look at 69.90, as it goes lower, you have got a very significant candle right there, but that candle is only at 69.86. So perhaps you want to take into consideration the 69.80 psychological level. So that means your take profit, sorry, your entry, not take profit, could be at 69.70. So let us just mark that. 69.70, ideal sell area, second opportunity. Okay, and we'll just take a look. We've also got an area right here for the support. Give me a second. Now, this is also interesting on the AUD USD. You know, we have got a nice big fall right there. The current price is aiming at that resistant area. Now, usually, if you find a resistant area, it's probably best for us, especially for our chart, 1 hour chart. It doesn't really matter, but for myself in the daily chart, when you see a reversal like this, you need at least 2 candles to reverse downwards, and you take your entry from the third candle onwards. Is probably better just to be sure of the trend at the time as well. Okay, and in terms of prices and everything else. So here we have got 2 areas. Okay. So now, okay, it is happening at this moment of time, AUD USD, or let me just give it a shot. So I think probably made money on that one there. We have got that USD CHF. I close it at 51.87. Okay, it's not bad at all. Okay, let's just check. There you go. Brought that one up about 2K or so on there when we had several. I would say still didn't exceed about, just about 3 losses, but it's just the accumulation of the losses were big, mainly due to the risk appetite that I have as well. And I wanted to look into the potential correction and everything else after correction, everything else at 500, let's say US dollar for the risk side of it. But it's probably not the best idea to always maintain that kind of risk appetite. But it's probably best to always look into at least 80% of your trade needs to be based on high probability, low risk type trade, and maybe about just 20% or so are trades that would stretch your risk appetite side of thing. Okay. Okay, so I've got USDCHF is still happening. Okay, there you go. That's clearer right there. AUD JPY, as we've discussed, still very early, but let's just take a look. Now, AUD USD, it's looking not too bad. It's got a lot of volume. You can see it's falling. And as you go into the daily chart, it is also falling as such, and that is a good sign for more selling power. But let's just evaluate that at 0.7070 or 7070. You have got a very clear sort of downtrend, taking it from there, for example, right down there. That's 1,500 plus pips drop. So very, very significant area. Now the current price is flirting at that area right there. Now it's trading at 70.76, still closer to the psychological level. At any moment of time, anything could happen. So there's just no, the psychological numbers or just, my pattern and all that. It just doesn't cut it if you only have that method. So there's a lot of areas to sort of figure out what are your take on it and how do you actually measure your risk as well. Okay, so here I probably would wait because you see you've got your entry price for that sell was 70.70. See 70.70. 76 area. So yeah, that's good. That has actually maintained the resistance right there. Okay, we have got questions. Yes. Do I think it's too high? You placed the pending order at 92.60. Let's just see. You've got it 92.60. That means you're taking the second box. So the second box is not about too high. It's about the timing of whether or not you would like it to be a pending order. If it's pending order, then you basically wait for the price to come to you, as opposed to chasing or riding the trend. So if you're a scalper, or even if you are trend trading, but you want a short term, then you want to actually measure it based on what's happening right now. So what's happening right now, I mean, the evaluation of the USD CHF was based on all this volume of movement of liquidity that has been pumped in since the morning, this morning in the London Open. So there's something that the banks have actually planned, things like that. So I've used the software to actually detect and also signal me that movement from the very start, and it did actually happen. I mean, as soon as London Open happened, and especially the US Open, what do you call that, happened, then we've seen even on the 4-hour chart that really strong, solid, bullish mother candle right there as well. So now we are only, let's say, about 14-15 pips between now and the TP area, so that is happening quite well. It does actually depend on how volatile the market is driven by what exactly. If it's driven by news, certain things happening today and things like that. We've also got data releases for USD, you see. So this is the topic for today's webinar as well, is the ISM Manufacturing Index. So the ISM Manufacturing Index is for the US, and we are having it, I think it's probably just happened, and that was what actually boosted that that mother candle, that bullish mother candle right there. So that is basically what happened, and it has reacted to the ISM news, which was positive, I would imagine. I haven't even checked the results, but then looking at the early warning from the software in terms of rushed in investors and traders from the very beginning, way before the data release, has already shown that there's some participation by buyers on the USD CHF. That's basically it. Okay. So yeah, that was for USD CHF. For AUD USD, as you've mentioned, Alfred, we have got, again, a lot of, that's for the selling for AUD USD. We've got loads of interest, even on a daily chart, moving quite aggressively on the selling. So there definitely is whether data in Australia, even though it's sleeping right now. But I think it's probably because of the dollar strength. So the dollar strength is motivating sellers to exit or to sell off the AUD and to buy the US dollar. Okay, so there you go. Your selling price. You're talking about USD CHF, too high on AUD USD. I'm not sure what that means. For too high, you mean it's lower, too low? You mean the price, or too high in terms of what? AUD USD. Looking at AUD USD is for a sell type order, and it's at 77. It's close to it's close to the 70-80 psychological level. So we're looking at potential 70-70 to sell. Okay, so it's very close to triggering the sell order at this moment of time. Okay, and then we have got, unless you want to be more conservative and then you want to trade only later as it falls even more, which is at the 70-40. So you've got two options to actually sell at 70-70 right now, pending order, but it's only pips away from 70-70, or to wait even more for more bearishness and more bears or sellers going into the market to sell it off at 70-40, which is 10 pips under the 70-50 psychological level. My eyes basically got caught onto that bearish candle right there. So here, for example, the earlier price was too high. Okay. Yeah. Usually we don't look into the price that's high. Imagine this, we don't really trade on the overbought, oversold and all that, because there's just no such thing at this. It's been proven for the past couple of weeks even. Everything that went higher and been thought to be overbought, like the Euro USD, just went even higher. So it has actually happened many times like that. So the subject of overbought, oversold is quite subjective. That's why I don't really use that. We just, we want to, because if you've got interest in changing the trend, then the bank can do it. You see, so if they decide they want to just change the trend, not because of overbought or oversold, they just want to change it because of their benefit, then they will just do it, and then the market will look at it coincidentally as an overbought, oversold level. That is basically what happens. It's just coincidences that shows the market that, oh, okay, it sort of coincides with the RSI stocks and all that, just because the banks and all that would love the retail traders to actually have a theory in their mind so that they can actually be controlled. But at the end of the day, there's just no control by any indicators actually. Okay, so it's all about money flow, cash flow coming in, going out. You've got risk appetite by the banks. The banks are processing the orders to safeguard their own profits, because they are making a lot of FX transactions on a daily basis, a lot of forecast, a lot of speculation. They are playing in within the banks as well. So if they want to create something and they want to make fast cash, they will create a trend or a spike, a reversal, whatever that is, but to their benefit. So that's basically it. So AUD USD, of course, we've got data that are negative. Basically, will just fuel it. But now what is pushing up the USD is just data as well. So the data is pushing USD so much that the euro is also falling, and with that we're looking at the AUD falling as well against the USD. Okay, so that is basically it. Here we have got different, AUD USD, the selling I would think will probably be good. Either one price of 70-70 which you cannot put it on pending order because it's just too close to the price now, but you can put a pending order on 70.40 as well. So you can actually place two trades, place a spot trade now to sell the Australian dollar versus the USD at 70.70, or wait until it goes to 70.70 and then sell. Then you can do a pending order now as well on the 70.40 entry, so that you've got two trades and then both are basically riding on a very strong AUD USD bearishness. Okay, makes sense. Right. Okay, let's just see it. Okay, good. Makes sense, right? Okay, good. So there you go. We've also looked into a little bit of oil. Oil is just consolidating in terms of price at this moment. This is for Brent, okay, and it's got this very elongated type consolidation, and basically usually moves like this can actually give very good opportunities as well to the breakout, especially breaking out. You know, so if it does actually break out, then you've got pattern here like a Z pattern as well, and usually it goes up almost the same length as that up there. So the breakout potential gives you a chance to go up to about 56, about $10 upwards for oil. So the pattern would actually be something like this. That's the target right there. Okay, so and then price would go upwards right there, and then make a reversal, and you can see that automatically you have got a very nice target area for the fall as well, and that fall area of support at 36 coincides with support, resistance, and it basically respects all the prices as well automatically. Okay, so there you go. And if we just attach it like this, that's a geometric rectangular right there on its own from the lazy Z pattern. There you go. So that is for the price of oil. So now we're expecting a potential breakout to that level up there. So buy from there, and then potential reversal from that area down. But we'll see what happens with the oil. Okay, good. All right, there you go. So yeah, you can see all the USDs as well. USD CAD giving a very nice one there. But if we don't look to the left, then we might get caught in potential reversal as well, because this could be a double top and then go all the way down. But then retail traders, they see a long bullish candle, mother candle, and then they would think that this is a change of trend to the upside, and the trend will only persist to go up. But we need to look to the left for a risk. So that's a risk right there as well. Okay. So there you go. Gold, we're still looking at corrective moves, so not just yet. And if it does actually go above that area right there, then we're still sticking to the same pattern and predicting it to the 2024 area for gold. GBP/CHF, it has extended a little bit to the upside, so we need to change this trend, this pattern, sorry, and take that one higher, but we need to wait for it to reverse. So I'll just remove this for now and leave it until we find a solid C point with two candles at least reversed, and then we can take that as a C point. At this moment of time, that C point is not solid as yet. Okay, for GBP/CHF. There we go, guys. I think that's all the time that I have for you guys. We are monitoring more and more potential trades as well. And let me just look into the heat map. Heat map wise, we're still maintaining what we have mentioned earlier on with all the potential, but we have got a new not new, but a potential signal for NZD USD also to the sell side, mainly because of the strength of the USD. So USD, it's definitely picking up in terms of its bullishness, and USD CHF is one of those. I think it's one out of many that has got a good opportunity of movement so far to the upside. USD CHF, okay. USD CHF are amongst the most steady one throughout the trading session for today. Okay, NZD USD as well, not too bad, but not as steady as USD CHF, meaning that, okay, if we pick NZD USD, we might actually be surprised with corrections along the way, but we're not really that sure where exactly. So hence the reasons not giving us clarity at this moment of time, even though it's picking up with a downtrend. Okay, there you go. You guys okay? Right, good. Okay, Alfred. So that's basically it. If there's anything that you want to communicate directly, please feel free. Just type it onto Telegram. Ask me. Okay, so there you go. Thank you very much, and have a lovely night. And then we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Okay. Thank you, Alfred. Take care. Bye bye.